Now we are going to build the single product page. As you see, if we click any of the particular product, it's going back to the single product page right here and showcasing all the details according to the product segment. So right now, if we click any of that particular product, it will go basically in that 404 not found page. And before going further, I think it's also better if we can create any like a 404 not found page by so far, so that we can just go and prefetch the data and it will be helpful for the users to come by. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just roll back to my that not found.tsx. This is basically a simple file which going to be make the possible scenario how the things can be look alike. So I'm gonna just import the logo here. So it should be our logo, I think. Yeah, components logo, and done. So now it will render, and what kind of things is happen to be here, you can see by so far. We just create that not-found, and it's basically in our app directory, not in studio, not in client, but directly in the layout. So it doesn't matter if it's not finding the studio or client, it will basically just redirect right here in the not found. And you see, this is a pretty good and sleek and simple design. We are showcasing the logo and looking for something. We're sorry, the web address you entered is not a functioning page on our site, and go to Shopcart's homepage. If you click, it will redirect to our homepage where the user basically go and see the other scenario. So you can see, and all of the videos whatever we are creating right here, if you see the file over here, you see there is a part 6, and if you are having that like the GitHub repository, every single code what you're gonna do in this video you're gonna find in part 6 version. So now this is a simple div, and then we are passing the logo, we are passing that our h2 and the p tag for the text. Then at the bottom layer we are going back through our link, which is kind of button. Then also for the help, now /help we didn't create yet, but even you click on the help, it will also redirect here for the help segment. So this is just a simple segment how you can create. So this is the way it can be prefetched. Now what is the most important one we need to create is that our product page. Now what kind of things is happening once we click in the product? If you want to see that, we need to go back to our product card. So let's go back to the product card, and here is we are going back to /product, and accordingly we are creating a dynamic route because every product has a different slag, and this is coming to get the product is right now is trying to grab that product slag.current. Like if I click on the camera, it will go to that camera slag. You see the Canon EOS, and if I go and just make any other different product, right, okay, this product is loading, like is the Realme Note here, it will also generate that slag for the Realme Note. So now to create that, it's also very simple to do that. We first need to create a directory here, which will be, let's say there will be a directory name as the product, then there will be another directory name of that slag, and after that we need to go to just create that page.tsx. That's it. So what is happening here, you see we have two separate directory here. One is that product, the empty directory. You can also keep the page here, but then we're having a dynamic with that like the third bracket segment, like you can also set the angle, and then you are having that page.tsx. If we click on that RAFCE, let's say we'll name that as a single product page. Okay, after saving that, if we now go any of the particular product, we should be able to see the product segment right here. Okay, it's just taking a bit of time to generate and go. I think you can see over here, as you see, it's going to be rendering right here, and we are just right headed to our single product page. I don't know from where is that gapping pattern is coming, so let's go back and check the footer, or is it also happening in our home page? Let's just dig on that. No, it's not happening there, it's only coming right here. So if we go in our footer, so that's the footer top, and in the footer top, no, it's not there. Anyway, we'll find it and we'll sort it out what is happening right here. So now as you see, we have our single product page, and on that single product page we are grabbing that slag, so we need to fetch that slag by so far. And how we can fetch that is also gonna be working in a very good way. First of all, it need to be as an asynchronous function, because we're gonna use it in a server-side rendering. If you don't use async await, it will not be able to deploy that one. And everything we're gonna take as a params, so params, params. And what's going to be within the params? The params going to be coming with a promise, and so we're going to write that it will be coming with a promise, and in that promise we are going to pass a variable here which is going to be a slag, and in the slag value, it should be a string value. That's it. So now we are going to have that slag property, and if we just log that, we can just directly render our slag, that const slag await params, and now we can go with the console.log and just log the slag. And after logging that, you can see in our data over here, it just passing the slag at the bottom. Even also you can go in our client-side library, you know, the Nextjs is supporting the server-side render in the client-side prefetcher. You see that server slag, we are having the slag. So according to using this slag, we should be able to fetch the product from our database, like from our Sanity. And how we can do that? First of all, we are going to create one, like we should be creating one query, and also creating a grok properties. By that, we will be able to prefetch that. So implementing that, let's go back to our Sanity over here. Queries will go in the index.ts file, and first we're going to go in the queries. So in the queries, we're going to just pass a value here, which is going to having that product by slag query. So what actually is doing, as you see, is getting the type as a product, and the slag.current, you see the dynamic value here. So we are not hard coded whatever the whatever the slag it will be, but any slag you put here, it will catch that as a dynamic slag. And then we are passing that this name ascending, so it will get the 0 value. So any product has the multiple slag, but we're gonna get that just the first one. So this is the slag properties here, and also we need to like export that one. So product by slag, and let's go in our query over here. Now in the query, we're gonna just simply pass whatever the value we are going to adopt here. So this will be, let's say, just getting the query here. So it will be that get product by slag, and what is rendering here is that, so I'm gonna save it first. So is getting an assign and await function value. We are passing that slag. You see the property is gonna come up as a props value, and const product is await sanity fetch, and we are grabbing that from that slag query, and in the params we are passing the slag. So whenever we are having the product, you're returning the product.data, otherwise the null value. So now let's roll back to our page here. So we should be able to grab our product here by using that particular slag. But before running that slag, I want to use that one, let's say npx, I think npm run type gen. So let's just grab the type right here. So now we will also make that const should be the product await. Product is equal to await. We want to get that get product by slag, and we're gonna pass the slag right here. If we just log our product value, let's see if it's okay, not logger.log, should be console.log. Okay, okay, right now it's good. So just let's reload that. So now if we come back here and open the inspector, we should be able to see the value right here. So it will particularly provide the data or the product, which subsequently it's its own product. I think. Okay, we're gonna go back right now. So now let's go back again and let's try to grab that product, and as you see, we are fetching the product, and it's basically happening in the server side, so no client-side interactivity right here. So now we have that product data. Now how the design pattern will look like, if you see, whenever we are going to be in a single norm, we have in the left side we have the product, and here whenever I'm changing, you see the image is changing. You can also go with the hover values. Whenever you're hovering, you can change. You can also scale on that to see in a very maximized way. Then in the right side we have our image, we have the title, description, rating, prices, and add to cart button, and there is a like for the characteristics and compare and ask question, free delivery option, and at the bottom we have our additional information. So this is the thing which also is pretty good in a very responsive way. You can see everything is fit to on a very specific manner. So now we need to create or adapt this entire segment right here. And how we can do that? First of all, we need to divide this in both two parts. So first I'm gonna see from where I'm getting that spaces. So let's say VG, we're gonna go at rate. I'm gonna see how many. Okay, that's the one. So from where is getting that properties? So this is the property value here. If we go back to our layout, okay, that's maybe that's the portion. Yeah, if we just remove that, I think, yeah, that's the problem, because we provide that min height of the screen, so it's getting up from that particular properties. But anyway, we're gonna keep that. This is not troubling us at all. So because we're gonna pouring that data in so far, so I'm going to remove that. And basically in this we don't need that mention to entire div properties, as we are not requiring. We're going to use a container properties here. So container, and within the container we should be able to generate two particular property view, right? So one, it will be for the image, another will be for the details. So we're gonna just render div, and that div going to be multiplied by 2. So you're gonna have two view. One should be for our, let's say, images, and another for our details. Okay, so these two separate segments going to be like aligned all together. And now to let those things work, I'm gonna just make that, put a class name here, should be flex, and by default it's gonna be in a flex column properties, and empty screen should be flex row properties side by side, and put a gap of 10, so should be 40 pixel gap, and padding wise should be 10. Either you can go with the like in a normal screen train, and also for the larger devices you can go at 20. Is up to you, but I'll go in the similar layer. So this is the adaptation we are going to adopt here. But I think for the gapping pattern, is it mandatory? I think it's not required, right? So because it's providing a different value, because our header here, which is slightly, I think no need to provide that. I think the padding bottom is okay, but padding top we are not going to use that. So should be padding bottom of 10. Now the problem is that the image property, you see that image, whenever we're clicking any certain image, is changing that image. So the client side interactivity is there, but overall here the add to cart button, this one has a client side interactivity. So we have a several portion where the client will click and some portion where client will not click at all. But you see our entire page is client side, so we don't want that page should be as a client side library. We want to make that as a server side. So what we're gonna do, first of all, we're gonna go within our components, and in the components I'm gonna create one more file which should be image view.tsx rafce. That will be providing for our image view component, and we're gonna just wrap that one. I will close this portion. So instead of that particular div, I'm gonna just wrap that through. Whenever we're gonna have a, like say we have our, or yeah, I think div value will serve the purpose. Yeah, whenever we're gonna have that product dot images. So if we have the product dot images, then we're gonna passing that our image view. And if you don't pass like that way, you're gonna pass a certain error, because you know we are fetching the image in the server side, so we need to wait for it. So now what we can do something more in a more flexible way. So to implement that, I think why we are using that div. This div is making me traveling me. I don't want to use that div at all. Okay, I think it's simple in that way. Okay, so right now this particular div going to be have a class name. So by default it's gonna be having width full. MD should be, let's say MD width should be 1 by 2. So 1 by 2. Okay, And then I'm going to make it a flex column, and gap should be 5. So this will be for the description property. And then we have our one image view div here also. So what we're going to do, we're going to also pass some of the class name for that our image view div here. So that should be, let's say, particularly the full weight md, which should be half space y2 and md space y4. So right now you see we have two separate part where we are having the image view, where we are having the details. So we got the shape. Now it's time to work. So first of all, in from the page, this one doesn't have the image property, so we need to set that image property right there. And to implement that, so I'm gonna also make another property. Const should be each stock. So if the is available in this stock, then we are going to make that if the product dot stock is bigger than 0, means we are having this stock. So now we're gonna pass two separate value. So the images should be grabbing that our product dot images, and after that we're gonna also pass that is stock property, and that should be getting that is stock value. So we have two particular value here, and now we need to pass that value together within that parameter. So to pass that, we're gonna just write a simple interface right here, because you know we are passing the image property, and also we need to I think we need to import a certain segment from our types property. So sanity type, we need to get that. And also if you just use that like sanity type chain, it already generated within your property. I'm just gonna destructuring it, that's it. So now every image, so all the image, so interface property, we are having an image which gonna get the asset, reference, type, wake, and this all are coming from the Sanity CMS, and the hotspot, crop, type, key. So all value is right here. And then also the is stock, which is going to be number. You can go with the Sanity type properties, and then you're gonna find this value right there. So now as you're having that, we can now define that properties, like we are going to fetch that from our props. So what we are receiving right now, first of all, it's going to be having the images, and by default it will be an empty array. If it's available, it's okay. And then it's gonna be is stock property. So this two particular value is right here. So first of all, I'm gonna make that component as a use client component, because we're gonna use that client interactivity, and you know it's gonna crying and popping up the error. So now see that particular design have two separate segments. So one having the image, so the bigger image which is at the top, and the smaller image which is at the bottom. So we need to go in that criteria too. And to make that things in a pretty dynamic way, first of all, we need to also go with that animate presence, and where in that animate presence we will underline our image. So in that animate presence we are going to use the motion here, and for the mode we're gonna use that wait mode, so it will wait for particular instances. Now we're gonna use that one of that use state, which should be active, and let's say set active. And by default we don't want to get from the React, because we can directly inject from the React state, and that one should be coming as, you know, we are passing that as an array of objects here for the image, and we are just selecting the first one. If you just look at the, if you just log through the particular like say images, you're gonna find that ratio, what's actually happening and how the thing's going to be done right here. So if you go in the console, you can see that entire image segment have an array of images. I think okay, it should be at the bottom. If I go at there, what's wrong? It's pretty much re-rendering a lot. So if I go in this segment, we should be able to see, yeah, you see that 5 objects. So this particular having a 5 image ratio. So we are just selecting the first one, that's it. Now what we're gonna do after that animate presence, we're gonna use a motion. So should be motion.div here, and also you need to import that motion from that motion React. So we're having two properties, one is the animate presence, one is the motion, to create the effect here, which you are seeing whenever we are selecting is coming a very good smoothing effect, not directly like jumping on that, but having a very good weight value here. Now in that motion.div, I'm gonna take an image property from our next image. And for that image property going to be having a source, and on that source it's gonna be url4, and for that we're gonna use that active. So whatever the image is active, we're gonna set that and we're gonna grab the URL for it. And right now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna popping up some of the properties right here, and of course I'm gonna explain to you, you can just go like be your own pace and then go with that, no need to hurry on that. So now we are parsing that source of that properties, then we are passing that product image, we are passing that width and height, and we are setting that product as the priority based and passing that with full height 96, max height 550 pixel, mean height 500 pixel, object content, group hover scale 110, hover effect rounded MD. And also if its stock is value is available, it should be opposite. Like if it's not in stock, then, or I think we can say no need to pass the value. If it's stock, opacity, like if it's I think, yeah, okay. Unable to resolve image URL from source 0. I think we maybe made some mistake here. So what we did, we passed that URL 4. Did we import that URL 4? Yes, we imported it. So now we are parsing that value as the what's wrong here? Okay, I'll go back and then I will try again. So let's see. So this is our one portion here, and then if we click, we should be able to see, okay, application, okay, something wrong, hydration failed, it didn't match the client. Did we pass that as use client flag? Yes, we did that. I'm gonna just comment the image. Let's see if the problem occurs from the image also. Okay, I think so, it's from the image. Now what we can do here, I will just pass the motion value, because remember we wrap that within the motion property, so without that value it can start crying. So now active.key, I think that's good. So we are having the images which is particularly an array. So the active value is coming off that UG state, the 0 properties. And for the active, let's say active dot underscore key, something wrong, something I think is missing some property. So right now I'm gonna just go and see what is happened to be in the active property, if we are receiving anything or not. So this is the active layer where we can see our data set right now. So this could be good, this could be bad. So you're gonna see, we're gonna go through it together. Okay, so if we just reload, we should be able to generate it again. Okay, I think we got the problem, because what is said here is the 0 value, but from which value we are popping up. So this is a very good, very crazy error which we are grabbing here. So it should be images, right? So from the images we are selecting. So that was the problem. We didn't select the value from the images, and which is just passing that error properties. And you see right now we're having our images and it's gonna render right like that. And also for that one, I think yeah, if I think we're gonna pass that one as the 0 value itself, so that we're gonna see the image. So right now what's going to happen is that we're passing that motion property here, and the first initial opacity is 0, animate is opacity 1, exit going to be 0, transition 0.5, and then having the class name to make that align all together to sit like that. That's it, nothing fancy. Then we're passing the image, where we're passing the URL, then providing the class name, and as you see it is stock property. If it's 0, opacity 50, if it's 1, like if it doesn't have in the stock, it should be having that opacity value which we were having before. Like if we just go backward, if we just remove that, you can see a slight little opacity right here. And also we can just hover effect, we can considerably make that push itself. And now what's gonna happen as we pass that, we should be able to generate our second div here. So it should be another div, and on that particular div itself we need to make that images. So we have our images, and that images dot we can map through it, so every single thing can be passing that as an image. And from there we're gonna return simply a button, and on that button we're gonna return our image. And on that particular image, let's say pass the source property, and within the source and the class name it would be similar of like this. So we're gonna have in the image URL for and the image.url, and alternative is the thumbnail, the image key we're gonna passing with height 100 by 100, and the width full height auto object contain. And for the button we're gonna pass the key, and that key going to be contain image.key. So that's the key going to be there. So now as you see, we are having our particular image property. So let's go back to the div itself here. The class name, I'm gonna make it as a grid. So the grid column should be 6 by default, and then I'm gonna provide a gap of 2, and let's say height should be 20 and MD height should be 24. So that is the height and width gonna combine, because you see we're taking the full width and we're taking the auto height right here. Now nothing going to be happen yet. As you see, there is so many other combination need to be aligned and properly designed together. So as you see in the button here, and whenever we're gonna click on that button, we want to run a simple function. We're gonna just run that as a set active, which is going to be passing that as an active value of the image, right? And now we will also render a class name to modify to just we can render whatever the class name is applicable or available by so far. So we will be rectify which is selected or not. So border, and let's say we're gonna put on border, and border should be MD and overflow should be hidden. So now every image going to have a border. You see all images having a border, and what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna just use that our $sign here. Now active, we need to pass this active key here. So I'm gonna just grab that. So if the active is that image.key, so if the active one is matched with the key which you're having, it should be selected, and then it also gonna provide that particular instances. So if we select it, border should be dark color, and also I'm gonna provide a ring of 1. So let's say a ring of 1, not like that, ring of 1. Okay, you see right now, you see it's selected. If you click selected, click selected, so that's the one which we are just make that. So border is not muted, that's why every single one having muted. So I'm gonna make that rounded should be, let's say rounded should be MD. Just a certain class type of mistake. I think we can just remove that ring property value also, no need to put some extra class name. Yeah, right now you see it just selected, and also you can grab the opacity here if you wanted to. So we are having that border color, and then opacity should be 100, and also we can make that opacity as 80, you know, so in that way we can highlight, so we know which one is selected and how it's looking so far. So this is the amazing view of that, and how very simple way we can create and we can manage that particular instances. So right now we are having our images value. So as you see over here, okay, is stock. I think, yeah, we can pass that. It can be as a number, or it can be also null value. So it can be number or can be undefined. Age stock. I think instead of passing from there, we can directly pass that. So let's just go, and should be product dot stock. That's it, gone. Now after the image, so in that particular details property here, what we can do here, we can take another div value here. So within the div we should be having a h2 tag, and where we're gonna pass that our product dot name. So that is the independent value which you're having, and you see it's still in any value. I think we write the type gen before. Okay, yeah, we didn't paste the y so it didn't work it yet, so we just need to wait to finish its task. Now if we trigger that, as you see in the product, if we hover on that, we are having all the product types right here. So now if we type that product.name, we're having the naming value itself. So now the name, it should be here, you see it's right here at the top, but we need to glorify that one. So put a class name, and then should be text, should be 2x. You can use the title also by so far if you wanted to. I'm gonna go to use in so many other criteria, so you can follow it through, but it's up to you. You can follow as much as possible. I think padding bottom, I think padding Y, yeah, I think we're gonna keep that. This looks good because this is just entirely getting back in the feeder. And after that, also, as we are having that product like the name here, then we're gonna pass that product the description here. So text action, small text gray 600, tracking should be white. So we're gonna have something similar that. And so to make a point in that particular view, put a class name. We're gonna just make that space Y. We're going to provide a gap 1, so it should be 4 pixel gap, similar of this one as you see. Okay, so right now if we go back here and if we try, I think we'll go with the similar properties. Let's go and try this one. Okay, that's cool, looks better, but the problem is the font here. Still we are having the font issue. So Poppins, fallback Poppins, here was fonts is happening here, fallback sans serifs, so it should work. So we are having the Poppins fonts, but it's not working. If we go in globals.css, okay, if we just comment that font, did anything change here? Nope. And still we can see the font as fallback sans serif. So right now if we go in our particular layer here, so it's grabbing the font. So let's say, because previous project which we have been done with using the Tailwind configuration, but now we doesn't have the Tailwind config.ts file, so we need to work with our root file here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mention it directly without going through the base. I'm gonna provide that in our root to see if it can take the action or not. So it's mentioned in the root, and also so it's basically it's happened to be in the dark. Okay, we already it's mentioned in the root for fonts Poppins and like that, so it be similar that. I'm gonna remove this one and let's roll back here and try this. Because this is the particularly the Poppins fonts, I'm sure, but this one is not working as the Poppins fonts by so far. That's why the problem is happening, and we are just going through some of the error. Anyway, we're gonna fix that, but we will just move forward. It's just a font, so you know we can come back to it anytime we want. So right now, after the page itself, so we are having that. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna render something better. So after you see that initial div here, which is, so after that description, we're gonna render one more div here where it's gonna be rendering our icon. And we are now hard coding the icon later on when we're gonna implement our for the ratio of that for the ratings. That time we can have the icon, so it will be similar like that, and it's gonna match with that. So what we are dealing with that is that we are passing that star icon, which is gonna have a 5 icon, and then we are passing the rating for 120 for every single product. So now as you see, we are dealing with that. So this is the particular individual div here, which gonna have our title, like name, description, and the star mark. After that we're gonna have another div, right? And on that div it should be having that price value. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just calling our price view here. So in that price view we're gonna pass the price. So first of all, we need to pass 3 of the criteria and 3 of the segment here. We're gonna pass our price value. So one should be the price, which is the product.price, and the discount price is the product.discount price, and text LG and font bold. So you're gonna have to be seeing that render right now. You see the 550 and that 605.500. So now what we're gonna do here, put a class name, right? Okay, put a class name. And here we can just pass that directly. So I'm gonna make that a space y should be 2, and after that I'm gonna also make that border t and also border b, so it should be on that, and border gray of 200 should be aligned, and then padding y should be 5. I think, yeah, that can be a good scenario. And basically that space y is not required because nothing to be spaced along with that. So we have to separate border layer to be dividing these two particular instances. So you see there is one more property is going to coming through, which is gonna mention if our product either having stock or not. And to right now, if we are going to mention like that, then we need to have that space y2, because then we should be having a proper gap. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna just pass a simple properties like the method is that, so it should be aligned with all together, so we can just directly inject that one here. So what is happening, if we have our product stock which is as a number, if it's bigger than 0 means you're having stock, should be in stock, otherwise out of stock. So you can see now in your stock property value right here. And also for the class name, we need to go with the similar property which we used previously with the backtick ratio here. And why? So width, I'm going to provide a 20 of width, otherwise it's going to take the entire div properties, or we can also use the padding portion. I'm going to use the padding, so let's say px 6 and padding y 1 point, let's say px I think 4 enough, padding y should be let's say 1.5, half, font should be semi bold, rounded should be LG, rounded LG. And after that, so if we save, there's nothing can be aligned right now, you see only this portion here. So now we're gonna go with using that property here. So if we have that product dot stock, if it's bigger than like it's equal to 0 here, if it's 0, then we're gonna have a certain kind of class name, and otherwise we're gonna have certain kind of class name. So if it's 0, we're gonna have something, otherwise you're gonna have something. Okay, now we're gonna go and write all of the things. So VG should be rate of 100 if the stock is 0, and text should be rate of 600. And if it's not 0, we want that text should be green of 600 and BJ green of 100. So that would be the ratio here. Now you can see the green property aligned all together. Yeah, now I think we can make that one as a flex property, flex column, even though it's taking that. Yeah, so if I think we can just make that as a block, inline block. Yeah, right now it's okay. So we have in stock ratio here right now, so we can say it's in stock. And also I think we can make that one, let's say text should be small text, and I'm gonna provide that text as a center align, so it should be always in the middle. Now as you're having that, we should be now getting that our add to cart, our favorite button properties and others. So we're gonna just render these two things. So after just passing that, we should be having two other property where we're gonna call our add to cart button, and also we're gonna call our favorite button. So these two button going to be aligned all together. Now in the add to cart button, we are passing that product. So you see that product is available. I think what's wrong here? We are passing our product, but are we having the product? Yes, we are having the product. Then we are passing it. So what's wrong here? I think some of the property. Okay, add to cart button here is actually mentioned as a use client, but I think we can also do some of the things here, which are going to mention, like if it's not. I'm going to just see that if it's working, fine. If it's not working, then we need to find a solution for it. I'm going to just add it through it. Then I'm going to explain it to you. So should be use state. Okay. I think that is not mandatory, but the problem is here. So why is saying product created at a string, okay, string name, reference, and hotspots assignable to the product. This null is assignable to type of product at to get which is here in the, okay, I think some of the properties. Let's go back to the product here. Null or undefined. Okay, I think null or undefined can catch. Yes, that's cool. And for the favorite button here, for right now, for the favorite button, I think you can remove this property is not required. I'm gonna just copy this one, and then I'm gonna remove this. No need to mention that either making it use client or not. The flag itself is not mandatory itself. So I'm gonna just remove that. I think. Yeah, so now we need to go and work with our favorite button, because in our favorite button, this show product value, we didn't create it yet before. So what I'm gonna do, this favorite button gonna have two certain properties, which going to have, one is going to having that favorite like the product, and another going to have that. I'm gonna just go with all three segment right here. So now this two value is currently showing show product false and product button. So this, within this property, we're gonna render this value. So as you see, we're having this button layer, and now but the design is gonna concentrate with this property, but we are having this property. And how we can go and considerably making that things workable. So first of all, we are having for the favorite, it should not be having to passing that card, so it should be directly having a button. So we first of all, I think for this layer, for the link, which is going to be passing that as wish list, not directly in the card. So I'm gonna go and implement one empty empty braces here, and then passing that. Now this one only, it will be available whenever, like if is no show product, okay, no show product available, only then I'm gonna passing that link. Otherwise, if show product is available, then we're gonna use a button, and then we're gonna pass that our heart icon. So that's the icon which we are looking forward. Okay, so now if we go back here, we should be just directly seeing that icon right now here, because this will only come back right here where we are not, because by default the show product is false, but whenever we are passing that as show product true, that will indicate that value itself. So right now for these instances, I'm gonna just go and particularly grab one class name here, which gonna just render the value. So this is the class name. Text going to be a shop light green 800 opacity hover, and then getting the full color hover effect, and getting the minus value for the margin top with 5 height 5. So this is the value which you're having that. And also one more property is required for, you see the border properties right here, which we are not implemented yet. And I think it should be coming on the button, right? So I'm gonna put a class name over in the button. First of all, I'm gonna make that the group. I'm gonna make it as relative, and whenever I hover, let's say text should be shop light green, and then I'm gonna make that as a hover effect properties. I'm gonna pass a border, and the border should be shop light green, and we're gonna pass in within that 80% opacity hover border shop right green, so it will take the entire color, and padding should be 1.5, and I'm gonna also make that rounded should be a small round properties. Save. So you should be able to see our this one getting customized and prioritized with that way. You see that it looks kind of good, but you know, it's not properly aligned altogether. I think, yeah, I make some of the mistake with the border. Now okay, yeah, now it's cool. Okay, now the gap, I think the similar gap we are having here, you can now toggle through the gap. You can change the gap the way you are looking forward. Here we put the gap as 2.5. I think that one you can just toggle through. You can make it 3, 4, or blah blah blah, how much you want it to. You can just customize it and put that right away. Now after that one, we should be having another properties here. So I'm gonna go and create one more components here, which should be that product characteristics.tsx or fce. So here we're gonna define that our product properties. As you see, once we click on that, we are showcasing that our products data right here. So we're gonna also pass that value indicating properties in that portion. So first of all, after creating that, so as you see, after just implementing that one in that segment, like after that div here, I'm gonna just jump and that create that product characteristics. So now you should be able to see that value is right here adapted, but this one going to be injected in a very proper way so that we can have all the properties right here. So now this one, as you see, we can go with, like, there will be a brand properties. You see there is the brand collection, so this brand should be injected the way we are looking forward. So this one should be an async properties because we're gonna call the brand directly here. So that should be product, and in the product, let's say the product should be the product of ours, okay, which going to be, and that can be a product, that can be, let's say null, let's say undefined. Oh, I think the one property should be aligned, not two. Okay, cool. So now we are having the product, and also we can call the brand. So how we can grab the brand here? So that's the similar thing, similar properties we're gonna popping up. So what I'm gonna do, let's go back to our library here. So we're gonna go and create a query here, which going to be the brand query, and also we will export that one. And what it's doing here, we are just going to fetch the brand using the type product slag.current, the brand name which we are passing, and from the brand name we're just returning the brand title. So we are just going to grab the brand name, so the brand name value going to hold the title. Every single product is handled by any of the brand, right? So now we just go to our index file here, so we can just going to be capturing that particular brand here. It will be the simple call, the similar call which we are providing at the top. So that should be getting the brand query, and we are going to pass that params within the Slack property, and in that way we're going to fetch the brand. Now I'm just going to explain that because we are doing the same kind of things all some more time. So you just need to give faith yourself and have a bit of trying on how you can go and prefetch the metrics on that issues. Right now what we can do is here we can just get that. So const, we can just pass that brand value is equal to await. That should be get brand, and from that brand we will pass that product dot slack dot current, which going to be getting as a string value. Now we're gonna just log through our brand properties, and we'll see if we can able to just view or visibly inject any of the brand right here. So this product, as you see, is having a brand. So from the server, okay, I think go here. Is it? It's not capturing yet. Okay, I'm gonna reload that so that we will be able to see that. And particularly that should be coming in the server side. You can also see within your property here. You see in the server. Okay, just ignore that. We're gonna fix that one in a bit. So in that server we are having a brand properties, and the brand name is High Tech Limited. So now we are created our brand properties. So let's go in that characteristics. So we will use an accordion to go and fetch our data value. So instead of that div here, we're gonna remove that div. We're gonna use that accordion, and which gonna coming from that UI accordion, and we're gonna pass that accordion item. Be sure that you are getting that UI accordion item or accordion, otherwise you're gonna have that error. So we're gonna also pass that accordion trigger, and on that particular trigger we're gonna pass that, let's say, a product dot name, and that name should be, and after that we will pass that a text should be characteristics. And for the accordion properties, we're gonna pass that accordion should be a single property value, and also it will be a collapsible, so should be collapsible. And for the accordion item, also for the value ratio, we're going to pass that item 1 as the first priority of the first value. So now you should be able to see the product name as well as the coming through it. You see, so the product name is there. You see, once you click, it's just getting collapsing and coming back to it. Now what we need to do, we need to pass some accordion content. So after the trigger value, we will pass that accordion, let's say, content. And on that content, we will get first, we're gonna get that a brand value. So we are A and the brand, and on that brand value, we're gonna also grab the properties as we are fetching that in server side. So we may need to wait. So whenever we're gonna have the brand, we're gonna not that. We're gonna get a span tag, and here we're gonna pass that brand, and on that brand, it can be coming as an array. You can just console log, you can see it's passing as an array. So we're gonna just get that array, so the first value, and then it will be our brand name. I think maybe, yeah, like that. So we should be able to see our brand right here. You see the brand high tech. Okay, cool. So now for the particular p tag here, because it's a side-by-side property, we can just go and provide that through as a flex item center, justify between to rollback and particular wide range. And for the span tag, which we are redirecting for the brand properties, we'll just highlighted that one. Okay, should be C, that one as a font semi-bold tracking right. That's it. So if we go right here, you see that properties is aligning all together. Now we are just going to prefetch some of the data which is similar of that previous data properties. We're having the collections. We are using the collection of static collection 2025. The type is a product variant type, stock available or not, according to the stock properties. So you see the similar properties, similar value. You can create a like a global color, a global style property for it, and then you can use it on the 4 segment. So right now we have the brand, which is 2025. The collection type is coming from our database, which is the gadget. Stock is available, so anyone can purchase that. After that, we have the compare button, add to cart, and other properties. No worries, we can just fetch that one in our fashionable manner. So in the page over here, after we are grabbing that accordion properties, we're gonna just pass. Now this all are static. You can use your own data ratio the way you are looking forward, doesn't matter. So whatever you are feeling better, you can just split it. And if you want to dig through it, you know, you have the code. So I'm going to provide the code, and you can just go and make that one work the way it is you prefer that can be work with you. So I think, yeah, we use some of that React icons here. Yeah, so I'm gonna just get that React icons. So that's the one I used to grab all of this icon. You see the far, this RX. So this all are the icons coming from React icons. But so far you can use that like separate icons also for if you want it to. I'm gonna just go with the devs. So React icons, I think, yeah, that's the one. And we can just simply import it, and you can just go to the Lucid icon to just fetch the similar icons, the one which I'm using for React icons, and if you find it, it will work perfectly with you, so no worries about it. Okay, installed, and let's just go and dig through it. What we are doing here, as you see, we are passing a div. We are just flexing everything all together. Flex wrap, item sent, justify between to make it side by side. Our first div, we're getting that RX border split, compare color. You see, that's the one, and then the similar pattern, the same thing, the same ratio we are using. Just we are changing the value pattern. So that's the one which gonna showcasing our compare value execution. It's just a static data to make the design promisable. Now we have the free delivery and return delivery option. So as you see, after like diving through into it, so if we just go and just remove that, you see that's the div which is responsible to go that. And also we are going to use this particular instances or ratio to create this segment also. So should be left, and is a Lucid icon again, and then also we're gonna use the track value again. I'm saying that's just static data, so I'm not going to kill a lot of time here. You can use it. Similar border properties and the class name property, getting the truck and then getting the delivery option and enter your postal code for delivery availability. The same thing going to return at twice, but the content going to be different. That's it. If we come over here and if you can check, you see the free delivery, return delivery option is right here. Now one more thing going to be implemented, the description right here. So this is the method where we can now go and consider that, but I'm gonna leave it to you. So this is the U tags. Go and revive that, how you can implement that. If you cannot do it, let me know in the comments. I will do it for you and also pass the code to you. So this is up to you. Now try it. That's U tags. If you can do it, you're welcome. If you can't, let me know in the comments. So as you see, we did that entire segment. So I think it's a good time to go with start working with our shop, which is really a more handy work.